corner. And I wanted to read an email I got real quick from Ken McClure. I don't see him here today, but it said, Jerome, I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate your time doing the Judge's Corner. I joined the camera club as a beginner, wanting to learn more how to take better pictures. The beginners meetings and Judge's Corner have been a tremendous help. Before, I just took photos. Now I am trying to make photos. Big difference. Also, the guest speakers are helpful. Also, although I'm mostly interested in landscapes, other types of photography can translate to landscapes. Again, thank you for the time and effort you put into this club. It's much appreciated. So I wanted to thank Ken for that. And I got to find a power plug, guys. My power oh, here it is. I knew it was here somewhere. I must have knocked it out. I was going to say, I thought I had it plugged in. But that was very nice of him. Yeah, that was very nice of Ken McClure. I wanted to thank him, but he's not. He's been at the last couple. I just don't see him on here today. So, but that's okay. I'll get a thank you out to him. And I'm glad that people like it and we keep doing it. And I know we've had the last couple of weeks, we've had some pretty big groups. This one's a little bit smaller, which is fine. That doesn't change anything, but it's always good to have people here. Also, for anyone that's here that doesn't make it to e-board, I did want to make an NCC announcement that we are going to have an annual banquet, and information will be posted pretty soon about that. So it won't be a big dinner like we've done in the past, but we are having a banquet, awards banquet with some hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that information. All right, let me share my screen and we can go to, oh, I've got too much stuff open. Sorry, guys. I've actually been working, so let me open this. Let's see if we can share again. Stephen, is that sharing? No, share. Share. Okay, share, and then I got to click one more time. Share. Please up your presentation to share. Oh, wait. Hey, come over here. I think I clicked something wrong. Oh, this is share. This is share like if I want to email it. So, yeah, so go back to Zoom. Go back to there. Share. There you go. Hey, now I see you guys. There we go. Okay, here we are, Judge's Corner. We are going to start with the first image. I think I have about 6 or 7 today, so that is good. This first image, I have a score of 24. The only comment is right side was too dark. I like the placement. It seems a little bit centered to me, but I understand the maker was trying to keep this in there. And I do think this adds a little bit to the water. Otherwise, it would just been straight water across with not a lot of definition going in like we have in the sky. We have a lot of depth, a lot of feeling, a lot of mood with the, oh man, I forget I can't touch my screen. We got a lot of mood up here. I think this is really more of the picture. I kind of like this little added in here. The boat adds a little bit to break up that dead space. A little dark over here. Yeah, maybe, but I don't think unless you dodged and burned, and I don't know what category this is in, this was handled pretty well up here, maybe a couple little bit of bright spots. But I really think cropping right across here and even maybe right in here somewhere would have made this a stronger image and scored just a little bit higher, because I think all this interest with the houses and you got the inlets going through there and all the mountains and the rays from the light coming down would have been a big plus just to cut that in there. Would anybody else like to say anything about this image? I also want to mention I do like the monochrome um, presentation. I think that adds a lot to the mountains and the sky being black and white. I don't think if this had any color to it up here, I don't think it would have been as strong as it is right now, having color to it. So I like this a lot. Okay. Yep.
What if you made a slim line out of it?
I thought about like right here all the way across.
Yep.
Um,
And just down below to where the clouds start lightening up. Yeah, right there.
yeah,
Crop from there and make a slim line out of it.
that might work as well. I think this part right here doesn't have a lot of interest. So
Correct.
even if you did, like one judge said, to lighten it, or it was a little bit too dark, I think even to lighten it, it's not really going to do a lot. If we keep it the full presentation, I think I kind of like it darker over here. It keeps your eyes coming back to the mountains and stuff, which is the brightest part anyway. But yes, I think that could be a stronger presentation. I just think most of your interest is right here in this upper 2/3, upper left 2/3. Cool, but I like it. I like it a lot. So very worthy of the 24 score.
What do you mean by slim line?
Slim line, instead of, so you have what an 8x10 is, correct?
Yeah,
And 11x14 and even 4x5. Those all kind of fall in the same aspect ratio. Then you have a 5x7, and kind of what a 35 millimeter is an 8x12, almost kind of fits that same aspect ratio. So if we take something and we make it really skinny and long, a lot of people call it slimline, more like a panoramic image or panorama. That would be more of a slimline.
all right.
Cool. I will, next judge's corner, I'll do a couple crops. Maybe if I can use this image, we'll do a couple crops and we'll change this and crop it a little bit, and we'll talk about that next time. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Next image is kitty cat. This says this was in Master Animals Pets. The title is Shelved Cat. It scored a 23. Comments were, the cat is nice and sharp. Need to zoom in on the subject and get rid of surrounding space as it didn't contribute. So at the last beginners group, we talked a lot about composition, and I talked just a little bit about negative space. This kind of has a bunch of negative space all the way around in a circle, which is not adding or helping the subject. And that's what the judge means by the surrounding space doesn't help. We talked a little bit about having negative space that adds to the image or contributes to the subject. So that's what they mean by this. Cat is nice and sharp. That's pretty self-explanatory. Not a lot of composition here. We do have a little bit of an angle. The cat itself is kind of in a C curve, which kind of makes the cat, he did his own composition, but we didn't help it a lot in the photographic value of it. Lighting is kind of flat. I see it's kind of high and down, which is fine. I think it works good on the fur. It gives depth to the fur, and definitely a lot of focus to the fur. I think just having the background, maybe if you had a big vignette around it that was darkened down, it might draw the cat out a little bit more. But overall, I think it's a cute image. I like the title. The title kind of gives a little impact, because Shelved Cat, you look at it and you get kind of a chuckle inside. So good title, because a lot of times some people are like really struggle. I struggle myself with titles, trying to title things. And it drives me crazy when I judge competitions and I get, let's say, Shelved Cat 1, and then there's another one that's Shelved Cat 2, or Image 1 and Image 2, or Mountain Scene 1 and Mountain Scene 2. And I get a lot of that in PSA, and it like hurts my head. But in PSA, we're not supposed to judge for the title. And Nevada Camera Club title is a bit of the judging criteria, but it's not weighed really heavily. So this one actually works out well. Anybody else like to talk about this one or say something?
I like the sharpness.
Yes, outstanding, outstanding sharpness. Real deep depth of field, focus from Kitty's foot all the way to this back wall. So I'm guessing a really, really small or big number, small aperture to have all that depth of field. Cool. Okay, let's move to the next one. I have a couple of notes. That was for that one. Okay, next image. I don't have any information on it, but we have a little model train set up kind of in a studio setting, controlled light. I like the black and white. And here again, I think this is a good image that would have been a good slim line. Cut a lot of the white off the top and a lot of the white off the bottom, and you would have a big, long, slimline image of just the train and the train car, a coal car, I think it would be. The lighting seems kind of flat, and since you had so much control, it might have been nice to have, maybe a little more depth with the shadows. I only see the shadows on the bottom under the tracks, and I think you probably could have done a little bit more with depth, even though this lighting does show like all the rivets and the bolts and all that throughout, which is also a good thing. But I think just having more of a direction of light instead of straight down would have added a lot to this. Is somebody into model railroads, or is this just a fun subject? I don't know.
It was a hand-me-down train set from my dad.
Oh, I like it. I used to have a bunch of in-scale trains, and when I was a bit younger, we moved from a house with a garage where I had a big, I think it was a 4x12 board, maybe a 4x10 board. That was just everything, mountain scenes, train. I had about 3 or 4 different trains on there. And we moved to a house that didn't have a garage, and we literally hung it in the carport. And it lasted one spring. Once that wind hit, it was a mess. It was a goner. But if you still have this, I think you could do a lot more with this.
Interesting. This particular American Flyer engine is one of the later series based on the hitch that's on the coal car. The early ones had just an up-down hanger type hitch instead of
that little thing that dropped in.
Right. This one's a true side-to-side coupler. The old ones went up and down. So this is a little bit later on. But yeah, American Flyer, I don't think they're creating any new ones, but there is at least one guy in Vegas on the south side of Vegas that sells both American Flyer and Lionel. Hard to get this particular track. This was the old original track.
Yeah, this is old
track, not a 3-line track like Lionel was.
Right.
Very cool. Cool. Okay, we're gonna move on. Next image. I only have a score on this image. The score is a 25. Great action. Love the action. I can see the football. I love seeing people flying in the air. Even got some grass bumping up from the bottom. It is very tough to shoot football, and I know we see a lot of great football. Actually, all the sports. We've got football, we've got baseball, we've got hockey. We see a lot of that in and out of the competitions, and they're all very hard to shoot. And so capturing something like this, I know how hard it is to get and still get stuff in focus. The UNLV looks like it's in focus. The 21 looks pretty good on the other player. The Adidas right down his back with that flag popping up, or not flag, but the towel popping up is all in focus. So it looks great. I would really competitionally like to see a little bit more of both of the feet. And then even having the guy in the white shorts in the back, it's almost distracting to my eye. But maybe if we could see his head, it wouldn't be as distracting. Although saying that, it could also take away by seeing his face in the background. So it's kind of hard to see what would be best. Now, for a sports magazine, this could have been the shot of the day, and this would be the only thing that got printed, depending on what else was turned in. But I think sometimes compositionally, it's hard to put some of these things in for those little reasons, because it gets nitpicked apart. I know when I shot NASCAR, I would think I had great stuff, and they would literally pick out like one of my crowd pictures of 10,000 fans, and that's what they would print. I'd be like, great, because I doing my job and I got paid, but at the same time, like, man, I thought my other image was so much better. But good color. Compositionally, I think it works. He's a little bit low to the bottom. Again, if you're shooting with a 400 or 500, it's all sometimes hard to back up when they're running towards you. And so I know how hard all this stuff is. Anybody like to have a comment or two on there?
I think it would have looked better or presented itself better if it was more in a portrait mode, because my eye stays in the middle. And so that would help with the foot of the person in the background. If you came in and made it more of a portrait instead of trying to get all the feet flying and things like that.
Right. I see what you're saying. You're saying cut all the legs off, which
Yeah.
would be about to the thighs on the guys laying down,
Yeah.
and about to the top of the helmet. And yeah, and that might be a good idea as well. That keeps you focused right inside there, and right on that action, because there is good action. If you actually cut the legs off with your hands and cut the leg off in the back, the guy in the background, you almost get that sense of like a rugby match, because those guys are now just wrestling, and that's pretty exciting as well. So
Yeah.
good job, Doreen. I like
That's
that.
a good call.
The what? Say it again, Daryl.
Yeah, I see what she's saying. That's good.
Yeah, I like that. Very nice. Cool. All right, let's move to the next one. So actually, I have the next two images, and let's see which one comes up first. So we have this one. I don't believe this was in competition, so I don't have any comments or scores or anything. So we're just kind of looking at it. Say it again.
It was in the last one.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. Steven said he saw it in the last image, in the last competition.
You just went there.
Well, I wasn't there. That's my fault.
Was
Yeah,
it
it was
black and white?
submitted as black and white.
Okay, so I got the black and white and I got the color, so I have them both in here. What were you saying, Mary?
I think it was submitted as a black and white.
Oh, okay, yes. So we have, I think there's interest. This almost has a documentary feel. I don't know what category it was presented in or entered in, but almost has a documentary feel to it, with the bike helmet, and then you have the tripod and the camera on the ground. You're almost kind of wondering where the guy is. Did he fall off? Is he over getting a drink? He's just tired. I kind of like the effect that I'm feeling, or the emotion rather, that I'm feeling from the image. It feels a little bit off balance. I don't know that it is, but it feels like it's kind of leaning, and it might just be the way the street is going. And unfortunately, I almost wish you could have gotten lower, and that might not work again. But the line of the white sidewalk going through the bike is my only distraction. I feel if you could have gotten lower, and maybe the bike was in the sky a little bit more, but that sidewalk would be down closer to the bottom of the wheels, and that might feel better. Right now, it kind of feels like it cuts that bike right in half. It's almost like when I see a portrait and the horizon or something will go straight through somebody's head. And that really drives me crazy. Now, do I shoot those once in a while? Yes. I just try not to put them in competition. So I get stuck with them as well. I like the camera, and I don't know if this was placed here or it just was here when you walked by and you found it, but I like the setup and the layout a lot.
Title is In Search of That Next Photo.
Oh, the title is In Search of That Next Photo,
Documentary.
and this was in documentary. See there? See, I know what I'm talking about. Anybody else have a comment on this before I go to the black and white version?
The black and white got a 897, a total of 24.
Okay.
I sent these to you last week or the week before, whenever, just to get some insight on your thoughts. And I certainly appreciate and see what you're talking about the sidewalk in the background being probably a bit distracting. It was taken at a fairly low angle, but I could have got lower.
Well, no, and that's good. And I remember you sending these. I think it was kind of late in the day on that judge's corner day, and I didn't get them entered into the last one. Is that correct? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But now moving to the black and white, with that lightening up all the trees and even the street a little bit, I don't feel. I think it would help by moving that sidewalk, but I don't feel that the sidewalk affects it as much. I think this works better as a black and white, and hence, getting one of the judges to score you a 9. I think they were probably feeling the same way I was about this. I love the layout. I love the look. I love the idea and the ability to see this scene, how it was and present it this well. So I think there's a lot of good things going on. Would anybody else like to comment on this one, the black and white version?
The shadow to the left of the photo is distracting. If he'd come in just a little.
This right here.
Yeah, that. Also, I can't figure out the focus area because it looks like the back tire is focused and then the tire, the kickstand is in focus. And then I lose some of it. And I don't know if that's my monitor, maybe the tripod is in focus. So I'm not quite sure which is the main subject of this photo in regards to that.
Well, in my opinion, we have two subjects. You have these two subjects as one, and then you kind of have the bicycle and the helmet as one, is how I see it. The focus, Nikon looks really good in focus right there. And I think the focus line is right here with the pedal in the middle of the bike. And these initials right here look right in focus. So I think it's right in the middle. This looks a little soft. Definitely the front tire is a little bit soft. That's the depth of field, not necessarily out of focus. It's just a shallow depth of field for the image. I think you have to have this to keep these cars as much out of focus as they are, because otherwise these cars would take away from us. I agree with it'd be nice to probably get rid of that. Maybe also get rid of one car, just a little bitty crop there and get rid of that one car. You have the other two down the street, which I do see a little bit as I'm going down, down that way, the image, but it's not taking enough away from me that I still look at my other subjects right through here. So good comments, Doreen. Doreen, have you judged yet?
No.
Okay. Is anybody here hire the judges? You might talk to Doreen. Okay. I only have one more image for tonight. And this one is called Rebel Tough. Rebel Tough received a 24, and I have no comments on it. Yeah, no comments. I think this is incredibly cute.
Mhm.
I think it's a great crowd shot because you don't really have control over the crowds. Good job in, again, shallow depth of field. So the background, it looks like I can see, I can see there was a face here and a face here, but with that good depth of field, they're really diffused out. Hopefully you know who this is and they got a picture for their parents because this is an amazing picture. It's great.
And all the dribbles down the front of the t-shirt.
Yeah, yeah, he's got a lot of that. I saw that. I mean, it's tough with crowd pictures. I think this was handled absolutely incredible because you've got so much going on. It'd be great to get these two things out of here, but as well as you did with all this other background around his head, I think it's handled probably the best you could do. Stuff like this again is sometimes doesn't go over well in competition because that's the good thing about Nevada Camera Club with our different categories. My guess is this is probably in a people category or even maybe a documentary or photojournalism category because I think it would work well in all three of those. But if something like this was in PSA where the category is color image, it's not even going to be, it's just going to get booted out. And it's only because of, it's not going to get judged very well on technique because there's not a lot of technique, but this has a lot of impact. And a lot of times with other competitions, it's got to make it past technique as much as it does the impact. But for us here in Nevada Camera Club, this is a great image. I love it.
I think one of the things that adds to it is the young rebel is not looking at us in the camera.
Yeah.
He's concentrating on somebody else holding up the shirt. I mean, he's thinking, game or something. He's not looking at the camera.
Yeah. I sometimes when I'm shooting at baseball, because I have a big lens, a lot of people I'm taking a picture of will look at me, but then they try and look up on the screen because they think I'm filming them instead of taking a picture. So sometimes, and that might be because he's looking kind of up. So he might be looking up to the screen going, hey, where am I? And that's kind of the feeling I get when I'm looking at it. That might not be exactly what's happening, but that's kind of what I see in my mind. Of course, then having the Rebels, that works in Vegas as well. And then, of course, having the red, sweatshirt adds a little bit of impact with the red color. So good image, a lot going on with this. It's amazing. Anybody have any more comments? This was the last image tonight. Does anybody have any requests or questions or anything else? Is that me? I have bad feedback. I was asking Steven if that was me. But yeah.
Jerome, is there any way that you can do live cropping while we're in this process? Can you work on images?
Oh, I can do something.
Okay.
Um,
I didn't know whether you had to do it beforehand and have it done.
Sometimes it's easier to do it beforehand, but we can go. I got to get out of this screen. So I might have to stop sharing for a minute and I'll come right back so I can get to, my buttons. So, but if anybody has anything to say while I'm trying to get this pulled up, I'm all ears. What do we have? We have 9 on there now, I think. Okay. Mary, are you talking about the black and white one for cropping?
Yeah, just for an example.
Sure. I've got about 15 screens open. Steven usually yells at me. What are you doing?
Be careful with those screens.
I've got like 5 jobs going on. I'm trying to get out of town. It's just a never ending process. Okay, so this is opening in Photoshop. And let's go back to here. And where's my share screen? And we want Photoshop. Share. There we go. Cool. So now we talked about slimline. This is already a little bit of a slimline. It didn't look like it as much on the screen inside of, let's see, here we go. We need to go to, no, I need to release my, no, I need, is regional ratio? No. How do I release the, because it's trying to keep my ratio.
You were in the right spot. That one.
This one?
No, the one above it.
That one.
Then just push the clear button off to the side.
Oh, there it is. Okay, that's what I want. So let's say I was talking a little bit more kind of like that.
Yes, I agree.
Enter. I can't enter. Oh, it doesn't want to accept my change.
There it goes.
This is a little bit of a small image, so yeah, so that's,
The edge to it.
oh, let's go back. Oh, the screen, there we go. So it might be a little bit pixelated on some of your screens. It is a little bit on mine. There we go. So yeah, I think that's a stronger composition overall for everything. We can go, let's go back to everything. And
It's less busy because when you take out the bottom left, you know, then you're taking away all that busyness down there in the water too.
So, and that's even more slimline, kind of like Mary was talking about earlier, just cropping right to the top of the clouds here and about mid water. So, but I kind of liked just kind of getting rid of this here as well.
I agree with you.
Square.
Well, but if you go in and can dodge the lights from the house, from the
Yeah.
houses, and bring that out, I think that would add more more impact to that photo. Because then your eyes will follow that horizon line all the way to the darker area through dodging some of that. At least that's what I would do.
Yeah, it's pretty dark, but let's do just a little bit here. I'm gonna do about 50%. And this is just kind of fast, folks. This is
Right. Yeah, and I wouldn't dodge the mountains. It would be more, I would really go in and dodge just the whites of that area
yeah.
to bring it out. Because then you're going to lose the contrast, which is
Right.
what's really Um,
Especially through here,
Yeah,
need all that. So cool. So that's kind of my crop. This one, let's see, let's go back, take that out, and let's go back to the slim line. That's a big slim line. And then back to the original. Oh, get out of there. Cool.
Cool. Yes.
Interesting, until you dodged it, I didn't see that little white streak up and about a third of the way in from the right in the middle.
Right here.
Right.
I think
Over 4 inches to the right, another 2 inches to the right.
to the right here.
Further
Keep
over
going,
to the right.
keep going.
Right. Right
Right
there.
there.
This,
Streak, I didn't see it till you did the cut.
it looks like it's
Looks
some
like a
kind of
waterfall.
either that or a smokestack or
Yeah.
chimney stack from something.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was all I had today. A little bit shorter of a day, but I think it was pretty good and productive. If anybody has anything else, I'm all ears. Otherwise, we're going to call it a night.
Thank you, Jerome.
You're
thanks,
very
Jerome.
Thank you, Jerome.
You're welcome. Everybody have a good night.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye-bye.
Have a safe trip wherever you're going.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.